What's up, everybody? It's going to be an interesting day today. This is live number one of actually three total. We have Leticia Stauch, and we're going to talk that case first. Then we're going to talk Lori Vallow for a few minutes, and those are going to be shorter videos, 15 to 20 minutes. And then we have our April members only live. So if you want to join the membership crew before that live, now's kind of the last chance to do that. We're not talking about any cases. I'm not giving any legal tips or anything like that or explaining the judicial system to anybody. I'm saving all that for the subscribers and everybody that watches. But once a month, we do something kind of fun and more personal. And we're going to talk about TV shows. We're going to talk about the Last Kingdom movie. And I'm going to do a law school or college or educational road to becoming a lawyer Q&A for the members, just to get to know me a little bit better. And most of you that are not members probably don't care. So you're not missing out on much. But I thought it was really interesting to see the parallels. And when I say interesting, I actually mean sad and horrible and gut-wrenching to see two cases that we are watching together unfold live, literally, in the United States at the same time. And in the same week, Leticia Stauch has her daughter testify against her for the state, and Lori Vallow has her son testify against her. And because of that parallel, I thought it was important to do kind of a back-to-back video here. And we're going to do this live, then we're going to redirect to the other live for some people not watching one case or the other. But do a little compare and contrast. There's not a ton to contrast about what this is like to have your child testify against you and what that's like for a jury to watch and to see. So this first video is going to be on Leticia Stauch. And her daughter, Ms. Hunt, Harley Hunt, testified against her earlier this week. And I forgot to say, if you want to subscribe and like the video and all that stuff, it helps all the YouTube things for people that are interested in this trial so they can come and check out our page. So that always helps. So don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We're, riding to 250K. All right. So Leticia Stauch, her daughter, and we've already heard about and seen her daughter on this channel and throughout this trial because she is the person that Leticia Stauch did her best to create an alibi with, to have a witness help her out, to have somebody say, yes, I was here, I was there, Gannon was here, we were driving in the car together, nothing nefarious happened. That's the position she put her daughter in. And contrasting that with Lori Vallow, she basically shut her son out. And we'll talk more on that later. It was so gut-wrenching to watch Harley Hunt testify. It was brutally sad. And her discussions about being with Gannon that last day. And I'm not going to play it. I don't think we really need to get into those details. But I think a lot of the context was important. They asked her some questions about her upbringing and what her life was like. And what we got to know, which is similar to what other people have said about Leticia Stauch, and that is that she was a liar. She was manipulative. And she didn't just lie about small stuff. She didn't just lie about, saying she's 5 years younger than she is, or saying that, I almost just said something that is a big deal, but, lying about certain things where you could understand why people lied about them. Okay. Like maybe this is your whole brother. We have the same dad. Some parents lie about that when maybe you don't have the same dad, whatever it may be, right? Big deal, but you can understand why people lie about stuff like that. But in Leticia Stauch's situation, she lied about, I think, and I'm starting to get the cases twisted in my head. I think Leticia Stauch lied about having cancer. I think she lied about being assaulted multiple times throughout her life. I think she lied about many reasons why she left jobs. I think she lied about how Harley Hunt's dad died, and it was really drug overdose. But Leticia Stauch, I think, said somebody broke into the house and killed him. And just imagine, she's 20 years old now. Imagine going through your whole life thinking these things are true. Most kids just believe what their parents say. They want to believe the best in their parents. They want to think that their parents are, normal, whatever that is. and that they could never do things like this and never lie about these kinds of things. But Harley Hunt had to find out, and a lot of it came out after her mom got arrested. And she's sitting here, her brother's gone, her dad's gone, and now her mom's gone. I can't explain how bad I feel. And both of these children we're going to talk about today are adults. But it reminds you that even when you are an adult, many people, if your parents are still alive, you're still also a child, and there still is that relationship, and that it can change and morph over the years. They are still your parent. And there is still a very specific relationship you have with them that you do not have with anybody else. Yeah, she's 20 now, was 17 when it happened. Thank you. So we hear about how after the crime was committed, Leticia was immediately paranoid, saying someone's trying to set her up, saying she's got to get an attorney, talking about immunity, things like that. The paranoia continued. They were going to take off, and Harley was going to go with her. She rented a van. They were going to go to Texas. They were going to go to Florida. They were going to go to South Carolina. She really didn't know where they were going. And at this point, she's 17 years old. She has no clue what's going on. And she's just in the car with her mom at some point. And on cross, we're going to kind of jump back and forth, but on cross, the defense attorneys ask questions like, well, how is it possible that you didn't smell anything in the car? Did you help throw a suitcase over a bridge? Basically, did you know that this was going on? Isn't it true that you were given immunity, basically, and that you were potentially a suspect in this case? And while a lot of people are going to hate the defense attorneys for that, and I actually think, usually I would be on the defense attorney side and say, no, I understand. You got to cross-examine. You've got to make sure what they're saying is true. You got to make sure what the witnesses are saying is credible. But in this case, where they are not saying that Leticia Stauch did not commit these acts, but instead that she was insane and that's why she committed these acts, I felt like some of these cross-examination questions were unnecessary. Whether or not she had an accomplice does not make her not guilty. Because if she was insane, she's not guilty by reason of insanity, regardless of if she had help. So I personally thought that was something that's not going to come across very good to the jury. And I don't think the jury's going to like that. She explained throughout her testimony how the air was blasting. She asked to turn the air down. Mom said no, even when it was cold outside. And that's how she didn't smell what was in the car. Imagine, too, being her, sitting there knowing what you went through and what was happening unbeknownst to you. And now you're sitting there like, what the heck? How is this possible? She's got to be thinking to herself, how is this possible? And again, they asked her if she was considered an accessory to this crime, which I didn't think was great. But then, of course, actually before that, when, it was kind of asked of her in multiple different ways, like, oh, why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you say anything? You thought something was weird. You didn't do anything at the time. And she basically said to me, like, what I got from it is Leticia Stauch was going to smack her because she was abusive. And if something happened that she felt disrespected, that's how she was going to react. And so that's why Harley Hunt didn't do that in the moment. Again, you walked right into that one. And again, she's not on trial for being an abusive mother, but now that the jury's heard that, it's going to be tough to unring that bell. And they're going to look over at Leticia Stauch and they're going to just continue to pile on, like I say, the generally bad guy rule for criminal defendants. That's something that's going to be added to it. And all these lies, a lying liar who lies. We've heard that in other cases. So to me, all of the stuff that came out through Harley Hunt was very damning for Leticia Stauch. Also, something that's very similar between Harley Hunt and Colby Ryan, Lori Vallow's son, is these are children that are not estranged from their parents. They are trusting, loving, and defending of their parents. Both of them talked about how they believed their parents could never have done this, and they defended them. Well, that's past tense for both of them because they went from defending them to now testifying against them in trial. And I think that's going to play huge to this jury. And of course, prosecution asked, well, why did you speak with prosecutors? And she said, because it was the right thing to do. Which again, when you start saying, oh, you were an accessory until were granted immunity because you talked to the prosecutors, well, she says it was just the right thing to do, which most jurors are going to agree with, regardless of whether there are some legal nuances to that. And then importantly, as we're trying to stick to and talk a lot about in this case, is at the end of Harley Hunt's testimony, she was asked some questions about whether or not her mother ever suffered from severe mental illness, whether or not she knew right from wrong, and if she had more than one personality. And, Harley Hunt answered, no, she never had any severe mental illness. No, not multiple personalities. Yes, she knew right from wrong. Really important to the insanity defense. However, if I am the defense, you don't need to ask her any of these questions. But in closing, you say, children don't usually know their parents, and parents don't usually share those kind of struggles with their children. Now, she told her everything else about her, when it was used to her benefit, being Leticia Stauch. But I do think that potentially a child's testimony about a parent's mental competence, maybe not the strongest, but I think it's smart for the state to ask every witness that. On cross, though, they did ask her if she went to the hospital. There were she threatened to kill herself, went to the hospital several times in the past, mental health issues while living in Charleston. So they did get some of that out, the defense. That's more of what I would have done on cross than, specific instances that Harley Hunt knew about. Not overarching themes about your parents' mental health, but specific incidents about mental health issues, suicidal thoughts, things like that. That, I think, was what they should have done on cross, and pretty much just that. And that's what I would stick to, again, which they have on some crosses, but not others. I would stick to the mental health issues. But as we've seen a lot throughout this case, on redirect, when they got to the mental health issues and the lies that Leticia Stauch told to Harley Hunt, the state asked a very important question. Well, do you think that those mental health issues were genuine? No. Did you think they were forms of manipulation? Yes. And again, we have heard so much about Leticia Stauch's lies and manipulation, and that should be the theme, because in closing argument, that's what I would say here. This insanity defense is just another lie, just another attempt to manipulate you, the jury. That would be my theme. As I'm listening to these witnesses, they are hammering home that theme, whether they planned it or not. That is what's happening. And then we had, a very sad quote. I'm still in shock. I defended her for years. I just feel manipulated and lied to. She still believed her mother was innocent until recently, and probably until recently when she found out she was pleading not guilty by reason of insanity, not pleading not guilty because she didn't do it. And then there was something that ended the day like, do you still love your mother? Which I don't think she ended up answering, but she burst into tears. And it was just really sad. Really, really sad and depressing testimony that when people make bad decisions and do bad things, the ancillary effects and the people that are affected, it's brutal to see it literally live and in color. So again, we're going to hit a lot of these similarities and differences when we hop over to talk Colby Ryan in a couple of minutes. I am going to answer a few questions here and shout out some new members that joined just in time. Historical Cheesecake, Brenda Roast, Crazy by Proxy, Mrs. Escobar, Vicky Whitsitt, Miss Shoop-de-Doop, Holly Johnson, Nat 8301, Diane Balboa, Lori Sundblad, and Lauren Cove. Welcome just in time. We're about 30 minutes away from our members only live. Monica in the UK. Both of these kids need our prayers so bad. God is wrapping his arms around them and protecting them. Yes, and speaking of God and prayers, more on that when we get to Colby Ryan in the Lori Vallow case. Another question that I got a ton while Harley Hunt was on the stand. And that was, why is the state using so many leading questions? Is it because she's a hostile witness? So I didn't see the discussion before she testified. I have just watched her testify specifically, and her testimony and just like it was clipped out as this is Harley Hunt's testimony, not the entirety of that day. So if they did say that she was a hostile witness, then that's why they can ask leading questions. I would not consider her to be a hostile witness. Just because you're related to the defendant does not make you a hostile witness. In fact, it seems like she is just a prototypical witness for the prosecution to me. That's how I would look at her. But that could be one reason that the judge is allowing leading questions. But what I will say, sometimes when witnesses are younger or uncomfortable, or even minors at the time when something happened, the judge will allow some leading questions to help form a foundation and make it easier to walk through the process. Now, many times, leading questions are only allowed on subjects that are not in controversy or that nobody disagrees with. For example, you were with your mom the day all this happened, right? You saw Gannon that night, right? All the things that both sides agree on. So sometimes, again, with this type of a witness, the judge may allow leading questions because both sides agree she was there. Both sides agree she was in the car. Now, why didn't you smell anything? That's a question they probably can't ask leading because they might not agree or know the answer to that, right? So there is some nuance as to what you're asking about. Is it foundational? Is it already agreed upon? Or is it one of the questions that are the crux of the disagreement here? Sometimes to refresh a witness's memory that's with you, you can start with some kind of a leading question or a prior statement or things like that. Because we want to create more efficiencies throughout a trial. We don't want things to be more difficult. We don't want things to take longer, right, throughout a trial. That's never our goal. So sometimes that's why the court will allow leading questions. Katie, is it unusual for the judge to let the jury ask questions? No, we did an entire episode about this. If you want to check out the Leticia Stauch case where we talk about jury questions, certain jurisdictions, which I go through there, encourage it. Some allow it. Certain courtrooms and judges love it and force lawyers to allow it. Sometimes lawyers like it. Sometimes lawyers don't. Ms. Escobar, hey, Peter, Leticia's attorney appearing careless, proper behavior. I wonder if he's looking for improper representation as an appellate issue. So I'll just let you know, I have never seen a lawyer plan or want to be the person who is the counsel that is ineffective and allows an appeal to get overturned. So no lawyer actually wants to be that. Nobody plans for that. That's not usually a defense. It's not a proper defense. Now, maybe he's saying he's disinterested in some of the facts. And maybe at closing, he would say, listen, most of this trial was to prove that she did X, Y, and Z. We agree. She did X, Y, and Z. But you know why? Because she was insane. Because of what this witness said, that witness said. So maybe he's, purposely trying to get the jury to not even pay attention to some of these facts. It's not working, would be my guess. But maybe that's his strategy, is to just focus on the insanity stuff and not even touch the factual portions. Marcia, Peter, do you get the impression that the defense gave up? No, I think they're focusing on the insanity plea. That's what I think is happening here. Crafty Corey and Marcia, welcome, welcome. Tori, I'd like to send out love and prayers to our lawyer, family member, EJ. We love you. We're here for you, EJ. Hope I can be here for the members live. I hope so too, Tori. And yes, EJ is going through some cancer treatments, and we hope they are going as well as possible. And if not, that you're, if you're not feeling great today, that you get some strength and some enjoyment out of watching these videos and getting in the chat. All right. So that's the update on Leticia Stauch's daughter testifying against her. Now turn on whatever you got to turn on for the redirect. We are going to discuss Colby Ryan. We are going to listen to a heart-wrenching phone call that I think is basically a cross-examination of Lori Vallow. So we're going to start that live here in just a couple minutes. Thanks for being here. Hit that like button on the way out. If you're done and you're just watching the Stauch case and you're not coming along for Vallow, hit that like button. Thank you for joining us. If you're a member and you're going to join us in about 30 minutes for the live, I'll see you then. But first, the outro and Lori Vallow. Thanks for watching another episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit the thumbs up and share with your friends who may be interested here on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok at Tragos Law is our handle. And don't forget to listen to the Lawyer You Know podcast featuring new episodes every week. If you have a case you want to talk to us about, if it's a personal injury case, wrongful death, catastrophic injury, car accident, or slip and fall case, please email us at lawyeryouknow@gmail.com. And of course, all these links I just mentioned are included in the description below on this episode and every episode. So until next time, this is Peter Tragos, the lawyer you know.